Corey. Today we're going to talk about book. Let's get started. Go, go! Anyway, I'm not gonna make this intro super long. I want to get into the topic of today's video, which is the review of Best Intention by Erika Raskins. Yay! After reading the synopsis of Best Intention, I thought it sounded like another novel that I might enjoy, and I was right. I've been reading it, and so far it definitely worth a read. Maybe I will tell you a little bit more detail than the original synopsis, but I don't want to tell you like a big spoiler. Yeah, if you don't know what this book about, it's the story of a woman named Marty Trailer. Marty is leading the life of busy mom of the 3 children named Nina, Simon, and Poppy, and she's the wife of Elliot and Abjin. The beginning of this story, Marty, the main character, tells us it all began that one day as she waits for her husband, Marty heads to the bar where she meets Win Phillips. Win is a social worker. He tells her about a new mom's program that he's going to be running at Richmond Medical Hospital, where Marty's husband works too. The program will offer counseling, job training, among other things. Then he asks her if she would like to help him get the program off the ground, and occasionally Marty misses her job as a social worker too. So in the end, Marty decides to go back to work as a social worker. Yeah, this means she's working a lot in the hospital where her husband worked there. Marty thinks this is an opportunity to see Elliot sometimes during the day and maybe have a quick meal together. Elliot, on the other hand, doesn't want her there. He doesn't feel that both of them working at the same hospital is a good idea. I don't know why. You can find the answer here. As the result, the couple's marriage becomes increasingly conflict-ridden. Elliot is often late, leaves home abruptly, and makes excuses for not participating in family outings. And Marty realized that her husband has spent more time at Richmond Medical Hospital than in their own home. Marty remembers the early days of marriage and Elliot's career, how exciting it was, but now all of that only meant Elliot was never home and never available to her or the children. In the hospital, Marty takes a position counseling pregnant, underprivileged young women, some who are close to delivering their babies. She will be supporting young women in different capacities as they prepare to become mothers. She counsels these young ladies on decision, helps them to find places to live with the baby if necessary, points them in the right direction to get help they desperately need, and simply supports them in general. She's a very empathetic person, extremely devoted to her work. Marty gets the program off to a fantastic start and forms an incredibly bond with one of the young women who obtains assistance through the program. Her name is Tonya Maynes, an African American woman. Unfortunately, an accident happens on the night Tonya gives birth, leaving Tonya's baby in a vegetative state, and it's Marty that is accused of the crime. Marty is brought to trial for it. Either she's done something dreadfully wrong or she's in danger of spending a long time in prison as punishment for something she didn't do, because Marty sees something horrible happen at the hospital. Actually, I don't found out exactly what she's accused of until after the book is half over and who the true criminal was, and I bet it won't be who you expected, guys. Well, who knew that this offer of employment will change Marty's life so drastically? But despite all of that problem, I can find Marty's humor in this book. The barbed comments from Marty and her best friend Colby provide a little comic relief and a sense of normalcy despite the frank trend of events, rushing to the dramatic courtroom showdown at the climax of the novel. As tragedy falls upon Marty's shoulders, she is fortunate to have Colby and her boss Win Phillips at her side. So guys, this book has everything from malpractice to adultery, class, race, conflict, and murder, and how life can change in an instant. It's a truly enjoyable read and has so much to offer those who love literary fiction with a bit of suspense. The author of this novel is Erika Raskin. Erika grew up to the sound of typewriter music. Her mother, Barbara Raskin, wrote the very popular and funny Hot Flashes published in 1988, and it quickly became a bestseller. And while Erika's dad was an author of non-fiction, he took Erika to make up backstories of unsuspecting passers-by. So basically she learned at an early age about writing from her parents. She began writing this novel, Best Intentions, nearly 25 years ago, guys. She wrote this 25 years ago, can you imagine? She wrote this when she lived in Richmond during the struggle to keep the civil rights. So Erika reflected this issue in her novel like race and social class, and this you can see in Marty's struggle to help Tonya Menes, a pregnant young American woman who lives in poverty and is receiving insufficient medical care in a system that has all but written her off, contending with long wait times for doctor's appointment and less than adequate medical facilities. Marty is trying to do what's best for Tonya within the restriction placed upon her as a hospital social worker. And Richmond is where Erika's husband Kate was a medical resident. As the wife of a doctor, she said there were certain things she had seen and she was just like, this can't be right. She draws on her own painful personal experience and that of close family members who were given the wrong drugs, recommending for dubious procedures, not informed about their option, and exposed to lapses in medical hygiene. But with all the drama and the serious issues, there are startlingly real moments of humor, particularly in scenes with Marty's children and Marty's best friend. Raskin tends to blend tension and humor in her fiction, so the readers don't get all the tension on the shoulders. This book is set in Richmond, Virginia, United States, because the author Erika also lives there in real life. She certainly captured the area and the stats quite well. Also, she represents the issue from her experience as a social worker and the hospital where her husband worked. Mostly the setting is in a hospital. I was immediately drawn to it because the detail that she writes of the setting in her novel. Local readers may notice some familiar setting, including the James River, Church Hill, and Monument Avenue. Within this novel, Marty, the main character, casts a sharp lens on Southern City and on her privilege as Raskin makes space to address racism and economic inequality without slowing the pace. This narrative choice comes naturally because of the protagonist's profession, but it also comes naturally to Raskin. There's a scene which Marty is warned about getting too close to clients, which Raskin borrowed from her own social work training. Erika said, good social workers know when to pull back or not cross the line, but Erika doesn't see connecting with people as a bad thing at all. She thinks that we are all in this together. Even though the author said this is a fictional novel, but she writes this based on her experience, I think half of it true. Basically, Best Intention is medical thriller, the major of it, but it also explores issues of class and racial discrimination, falls in the healthcare system, and various hospital policies, and it reflected in the novel. This includes dangerous medical practice like rigid hierarchies where everyone is expected to stay on their own levels, in their own lines, like interns avoid challenging their resident supervisor, residents kowtow to attending physician, and nurses often more seasoned than the newly minted doctors, and this make it frequently feel compelled to follow sketchy orders. And I think this book paints a very real picture of hospital work system. Well, as the author told in the story, the main character Marty is a wonderful person trying to help her one of the patient, and then due to some fault of others, she is put on trial for murder. So I think that's what makes this novel more thriller than the book that I've been reading it so far. I think shining a light on important issues was Erika Raskins' main purpose, and I believe that the authors try to justify or fix this society through her book. As a doctor's wife and a mother of a child with a serious illness, she's had an interesting vantage point to study the medical system. Raskin is able to go into depth the medical drama that people usually don't see. Raskin says she's seen a lot of things that surprise her, ranging from social class related how overworked the doctors are, and it means a bad hospital policy that Erika wants to raise and justify about the issue that she had been experiencing. This medical story is more about the politics of the medical work than the actual medical situation. You know, politics in hospital are hard to understand and even harder to uncover. The politics is something Marty or the main character didn't see coming, and she is surprised by it because she had no idea, and that's why she's in a dangerous situation and she become a murder suspect. If this book is made into a research object, I would like to research about racism or maybe about how the other side of the hospital that we don't know, how the hospital policies work, or the impact with the patient or the medical staff if something accident occur in the hospital. Like the novel told us, Marty experienced that she accused of the murder that she didn't do. And also we can research about the devastatingly high cost of being poor in America. Maybe we can interview some parents who struggles in their life. I mean, because in this novel, the main character Marty works with impoverished mothers that crushed by social problems. She understands things that people with money might not, such as how poor moms have to make painful choices all the time, like having to decide between diapers and food. And I think it's really worth of researching because it deals with a lot of current issues, especially the issue in America or Virginia that the author raised. Well, there's so many topics in this novel that you can make into a research. I bet you'll be confused to choose it. I will give this novel score 8.8 out of 10 stars because I'm really enjoying this book, guys. It makes you emotional and maybe makes you have more knowledge about hospital policy or system that we don't know. And even though Erika said that it's a fictional novel, but this book was taken from her experience too. I'm afraid that I don't know much about working in hospital or the field of social works, but it certainly feels authentic and well researched. The best part is that there are no typos so far or grammatical errors because I'm OCD about that. And for the rest 1.2 stars, well, it takes a little while to fall into the pattern of reading as present tense and past tense are presented together in the one chapters without any break leaving, and it makes you a little bit confused at first. The back and forth can be a little awkward, so once you get used to it, there's fascinating element that keeps you reading. Still, Raskins is a great writer and her writing is easy to read, and again, as I mentioned, it's hard to put down the book. The characters were very true to real life and I was intensely taken with all the characters, and I was sure that Marty was innocent but enjoyed the plotline of finding out who the guilty party was. Raskins skillfully builds tension and a sense of nervous apprehension in her reader. Rather than being constantly shocked with new twists and turns, We are brought to a slow boil of suspense and a brand sunline story. The last 50 pages that cover the trial were the best part of the book. It will make your heart burst out. Overall, I would have to say that Best Intention is a compelling, well-written book that once started will keep you entertained to the very end. Alright, so there you all have it. I feel like I had a lot more to talk than I expected, but it's fine. I had a good time. Hope you enjoy my review, and if you're interested about this book, you can buy on the